All right, picture this. There's smoke on the horizon. A call crackles to life over the radio, and suddenly, the clock is ticking. In the world of wildland firefighting, that first hour, it can make or break everything. Today, we're going to crack open the playbook that incident commanders use to turn an absolute emergency into a controlled, organized response.
So you get that report, wildfire. What happens in those first few critical minutes? Is it just a mad dash towards the smoke, total chaos, or is there actually a method to the madness? Well, turns out there is. A highly structured system that kicks into gear, like, immediately.
Yeah, it's the complete opposite of guesswork. It's a disciplined, almost surgical system designed to force order onto a chaotic situation. And it all starts with a tool called the incident organizer.
So this is it, the moment it all kicks off. That first call unleashes a flood of information, and a lot of it is conflicting, it's incomplete. You've got reports flying in from all over, the details are super fuzzy, and the pressure is just immense. I mean, this is the very definition of chaos. Just try to imagine you're the incident commander, the IC, just arriving on scene. You're desperately trying to figure out, how big is this thing? What's it doing? What's in its path? What resources do I even have? Your awareness in these first few moments is everything, but it's also the hardest thing to get a grip on. See, you can't just fight the fire. You have to plan the fight, and you have to do it now.
And that's exactly where this toolkit comes in. Think of it as a playbook, a step-by-step guide designed specifically for that first, absolutely critical hour of an incident.
The definition here really nails it. It's a whole set of standardized forms and checklists, and they act as memory joggers. And this is so important because when you're under that kind of extreme stress, your brain it works differently. Even the most seasoned pros can forget simple, vital steps. This toolkit basically offloads that mental strain, making sure nothing critical gets missed when the pressure is on. This one little phrase sums up the entire philosophy of the system. What starts well, ends well. I mean, every single action taken in this first hour, it lays the foundation for the entire response. Doesn't matter if it lasts for a few hours or a few weeks. And hey, this isn't some dusty old binder sitting on a shelf. It's a modern digital toolkit, usually a spreadsheet. And getting it going is super simple. You just make a copy, you pop in some basic info on one tab, and boom, it automatically fills out a bunch of other forms. You keep the parts you need, delete what you don't, and then you share it with your team. This means you can have real-time collaboration right from the get-go. Okay, so this brings us to the very first, most critical task for that incident commander, the size up. This is literally the process of looking at that chaotic wild scene and translating it into standardized, actionable data.
The size up always starts with the absolute basics. First, you give the fire an official name, something like 12-3 main fire. Then you get a precise location, an initial guess on its size. These details get sent to dispatch right away, and that creates a common picture for everyone involved. Everyone's on the same page. Next, you've got to figure out the fire's personality. Is it just kind of creeping along the ground, or is it running and spotting, throwing embers way out ahead of itself? What's its potential to grow? What's it eating? Even the terrain, like a super steep slope, tells you how fast this thing could move. This isn't just a fire anymore, it's an opponent, and you're learning its moves. And finally, you have to assess the stakes. What's in danger? Here, we see a wildland-urban interface area is threatened. And that's a huge deal. That's that critical zone where the wilderness bumps up against neighborhoods. It means homes are at risk. You also ID immediate hazards for the firefighters, like power lines or dead trees, and what might make it hard to fight. All this data, gathered in just a few minutes, becomes the bedrock of your entire strategy. So, gathering all that data is one thing, but data by itself is pretty useless without a plan, right? The next move is to take that size up and use it to define the mission, to draw the battle lines. So the IC has to think on two different levels at the same time. First, you've got the big picture stuff, the management objectives. These are the non-negotiables, the universal rules for any incident, like number 1, firefighter and public safety above all else. Then you have the control objectives. These are the specific tactical goals for the fight right now. Keep the fire west of the river. It's perfect, it's clear, it's measurable, and it tells everyone on the ground exactly what they need to do. This separation is so important because it keeps the ultimate purpose clear while letting the tactics on the ground change and adapt. And the IC isn't just making this stuff up on the fly.
They're operating under a clear mandate, a delegation of authority. It spells out their responsibilities. And look at the priorities here. Safety is always first. Develop viable strategies. Work with other agencies. And this one's critical. Only commit resources when you have a reasonable shot at success. It's a heavy reminder of the weight of command. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. These initial forms, these checklists, they aren't just paperwork for a small fire. No, they are the seeds from which a massive, organized, and effective response can grow. And this right here gives you just a tiny glimpse of how deep this toolkit really goes. I mean, it's not just about the fire itself. There are forms to pre-plan a medical evacuation, a checklist for protecting houses, a whole process for managing risk, even a quick guide for ordering more supplies. There's even a form for reviewing what happened after it's all over. They've thought of basically every possible need and made a plan for it. So in the end, all the information you gather in these first few documents, it all feeds into something much, much bigger, the Official Incident Action Plan, or IAP. And this is the magic document that lets an incident scale up from just a handful of firefighters to a massive organization with hundreds, even thousands of people, all working towards the exact same goals. It really is true. What starts well, ends well. And that kind of brings us to a final thought. This whole system, it's just a masterclass in managing chaos. It really makes you wonder, what other emergencies or big projects or even challenges in our own lives could be tamed if we just had the right kind of plan to get us through that first critical hour?